Sharing from the Heart, number 94. Where is our treasure? When people talk about treasure, they usually have in mind a collection of gold, precious stones, or jewelry, etc., which are the things that ordinary people desire, seek, and long for. For the spiritual seeker, what is our treasure? Most of us would answer straight away without the need of pondering. The treasure of the spiritual seeker is freedom from suffering, enlightenment, and liberation. Where is it located? We can also answer straight away without any need for pondering. It is in the mind. The story about these back and forth questions appear to be very clear. Questions are short. Answers are even more precise and accurate. If someone asks a further question, what is nirvana? We may also answer straight away. It is the state of tranquility and extinction. Where is nirvana? It is in the mind. It is also in the mind, and whose mind is it? It is our mind, not someone else's mind. It is certainly not in the external world. It is not outside of us. Does hell exist? Yes, it does. Wherever there is nirvana, there is hell. Where is hell? It is in the mind. Whose mind is it? It is also in our mind. When someone hears our definite answers, they may think that we know the truth and are, quotes, enlightened. Even more problematic is that we may also think that we have seen the truth. This is a critical issue that I would like to discuss with you today. Knowing the theory by heart is not enough. Even though we may be able to expound it very fluently, the ancients have at times called this speech evil discourse. It relates to the situation where the worldly behavior and thoughts of the speaker do not conform to the right dharma. The sutras mention several levels of knowledge. Examples are thought knowledge. This is knowledge by the ordinary person, which arises from their contact with the external world. This knowledge is distorted by thoughts, comparisons, prejudices, fixed opinions, as well as passions that come from mental defilements and obsessions that come from underlying traumas. Superior knowledge. This is knowledge that is correct, pure, and silent. It is the knowledge of someone who has practiced the Dharma taught by an enlightened being. This knowledge is free from mental defilements, fetters, and underlying traumas. It does not involve inner talk, comments, comparisons, and differentiation. Complete knowledge. This is clear and complete knowledge that sees clearly the origin of all phenomena, from their objective appearances to their deepest essence. It is knowledge that sees things completely but without attachment, both to the object and to our knowledge of it. In this knowledge there is no self and no phenomenon. What I have described above is a short summary of the three levels of knowledge awareness. In reality, knowledge and our mind itself are a continuous and ever-changing flow that is always in movement and changes from moment to moment. We may also describe the aspects of knowledge from a different angle. Knowledge obtained through studying sutras and books and memorizing them. This is called theoretical knowledge. This form of knowledge is not sufficient in itself, as we need to apply it to our daily life. For example, by understanding the law of impermanence, we feel less pain when we face the death of people close to us, or the loss of possessions, etc. Or by understanding the law of cause and effect, law of karma, We feel less sorrow and anger when we are entangled in disputes with others, such as when we are vilified, accused of things we did not do, betrayed, or subject to ungratefulness. How can we remain at peace when undesirable events occur? We need to look into ourselves. We need to always turn our mind back onto ourselves. We are always among the causes for the things that happen to us, be they pleasant or unpleasant, painful or sorrowful. When we have the wisdom to recognize that we are the cause, we can change ourselves and become a better human being. This is the law of life, the art of living. This is the principle of spiritual practice, the art of spiritual living. The view that I have just enunciated is not original. The Buddha and masters have stressed it thousands of years ago. But we are not taking it seriously. We thought that we already knew it. I know already you are annoying me. Please stop. The knowledge that we think we already have is in reality a mere thought knowledge. We haven't understood the truth if we continue to make excuses that a particular conflict or suffering is caused by other people or by circumstances. We are the cause of every conflict, difference of opinion, dissatisfaction, trouble, or sorrow. We should never think that we can hide our ego from other people. The ego is very deceitful. It always says that it is right. The unfortunate thing is that we believe that we have got to get rid of the ego, that we are right, that our actions conform to the teachings of the Buddha, or that we are following the right Dharma. This is really the root cause of all sorrow in life. It is called ignorance. We had started on the spiritual path after having an awakening. We then developed a desire to practice spirituality, to become a better person, and to help others. We may even have renounced our family, parents, relatives, and worldly life, and become a monk or a nun. This is the mark of a noble determination, a noble will. However, after a short while, we may start to feel uncomfortable with some people. Over time, this discomfort develops into dispute and conflict. We must recognize that this situation is not caused by other people or by circumstances, but it is caused by our own mind. Why is this so? This is because we have developed a desire about something in the external world that has not been fulfilled, and hence the feeling of a sorrow or dissatisfaction arises in our mind. This desire is not different to other desires that we see in people around us. The Buddha has explained that desires, greed, craving, and the ego consciousnesses are at the origin of all 13 forms of suffering. The first truth of the Four Noble Truths, the reality of suffering, is already not easy to acknowledge, as many of us are not clear-minded enough to see that we are immersed in the sea of suffering. There are many among us, both among lay practitioners and members of the Sangha, who do not realize that we are swimming against the current of life. This is a form of thought knowledge, as we may think that we have the right reasoning and the right action. The second truth of the Four Noble Truths, the cause of suffering, is even more difficult to acknowledge. Very few people have the courage and honesty to acknowledge that we are indeed the cause of the conflicts that involve us, as we have in the past created the seeds that have now turned into fruits. We have the thought knowledge that the cause of unfavorable things that happen to us resides within other people or outside of us. When we try to deal with the situation in several ways, we then try to deal with the situation in several ways. We may try to argue our case, and if the argument is unsuccessful, we may try to leave the situation and find another situation or another environment that appears on the surface to be more favorable. These approaches will not lead to the termination of suffering. The third noble truth as the cause of suffering, which is the second noble truth, has not been understood. For this reason, the path that we follow will be distorted by wrong view, wrong thought, wrong speech, wrong action, etc. We have the incorrect thought knowledge that things will improve if we change the environment of the situation and our circle of relations. But how could things improve if our mind remains full of desires, if we only find faults in others, if we continue to praise ourselves, blame others, or if we continue to aim for the 5 desires of wealth, beauty, fame, food, and rest? In summary, we need to take an honest look at ourselves. We need to recognize that everything that happens to us is caused by the greed and desire in our mind, which results in an intention that may turn into dissatisfaction, as life often does not comply with our intentions. We have learned that nirvana is in our mind and hell is also in our mind. So why don't we focus on transforming our mind? If we carry an ignorant mind while traveling through life, we will encounter hell everywhere we go. If we carry wisdom in our mind, every situation will be nirvana.
As stated in the Vimalakirti Sutra, if the mind is at peace, the world is at peace. Any conduct will result in a just consequence. The truth is as simple as that. A Vietnamese master summarized his teaching in a heartfelt sentence. Turn inward to look at your mind. This is your only main duty. You cannot attain anything externally. We may follow this teaching and let the light of wisdom show us the way to the enlightenment shore. Like the light from a lighthouse guides a boat out of the stormy sea. In contrast, if we row against the flow, we will reach the shore of ignorance. Masters Hall, March 16th, 2021.